You can get my traditional gender roles when you're committed to me, when you're exclusive to me. But if you're not exclusive to me, I'm not paying for it. Until I know I have your commitment, you're not getting any traditional treatment. You have to prove yourself to me. In the same way that men have to prove themselves to women.
Anybody want to like further things with you if you're gonna have that mentality? Like, you're not gonna get shit from me unless you're gonna prove that you aren't.
That's how women operate, and I'm saying that men are allowed to operate in that same way.
Operate that
that's
way.
exactly
Not all women.
That's exactly how women operate. Women are looking at men to prove themselves to them in a variety of different ways. It could be their physical appearance, it could be their personality, it could be what they're bringing to the table. That's how it is. So I'm saying I'm saying that men are also allowed to have preferences, standards, and boundaries, and not just kowtow to everything.
They don't have to feel like a pressure to buy dinner and do all this shit for a woman. But if every man walks around with the mentality like, oh, I won't do this for this person, I won't do this for this person because they could have fucked somebody earlier today and I have no clue about it, then all like romantic gestures are going to be gone, because that's just going to be the new thing where everyone's like, well, fuck this person. If they don't owe me this and they don't prove it to me, they don't get shit. Comes out of it.
Well, I do think romantic gestures should be gone. Certainly, if you're going on a date with a woman and she like is fucking other men while she's dating you.
Well, if she tells you she's fucking other men,
I'd say most women would not be honest about that.
Well, then how are you going to assume that every person is
because
fucking
I would
person?
Say more so. I would say
then women should just fucking assume that all men.
They do.
Other people.
Yes, women do assume that.
Not all women.
Okay, who controls access to sex, men or women?
Women. Both.
Women.
Access to sex?
Yeah, who controls when sex happens, men or women?
It depends. Who's more dominant.
Has a guy ever made you wait for sex? Like you wanted to fuck and... Have you ever told a guy who you were interested in and he wanted to hook up, and you made him wait for sex?
No.
Okay, well, okay, you've never made a guy wait for, so you'll just fuck first date. I'm not saying that's wrong.
No, I won't fuck first date, but like, I mean, I'll make.
Hold on, so the threesomes, hold on. The threesomes that you've had, you waited, like you went on a first date?
No. So I mean, I can.
So you do fuck on the first
every time.
You do fuck on the first date.
I mean,
most threesomes,
most of them, it's kind of like this is what the plan is. So it's not like we're going on a date. It's kind of like,
yeah,
we just want to fuck.
Okay, so but you will hook up with someone or a group of people
if that's like what was intended on.
Okay.
Not if like I'm going on a date with a person and I'm just gonna fuck them.
Can you speak closer to the mic?
Sorry.
To the mic. Yeah, no, look, I mean, probably it would be better for, like, I guess the reason I'm hesitant to fall into my traditional gender roles is I don't want to feel like a sucker. I don't want to get played, right? So I don't want to be put in a position where I go on a date with a girl, I pay for the meal, I do all these romantic gestures, I get her flowers, et cetera, and then end of the date, 8 p.m., 9 p.m., whatever, and then she goes over to the guy's house who she's fucking, fucks him, who he never had to pay for a date. He never took her out. He's just some hot dude that she likes to fuck. So that to me is in order for guys to hold up their end of the deal when it comes to traditional gender roles and being a gentleman, women also have to move in a way that is deserving. Like, women ought to curate men's desire to be gentlemen.
Yeah.
And that's not going to occur when we know that the way people are moving is pretty fucking scandalous.
But that's illogical. Because if you say that women have to signal to men that they are a lady,
yes,
to trigger these gentlemanly behaviors, but then you're saying, but the predisposition is that no one is a lady because I'm not gonna, no matter how you present yourself, no matter what, I'm gonna assume you're not, then that's a catch-22. So there has to be some give. You have to say that at some point a woman can present herself or prove in such a way that she's a lady.
I think the give ought to be on women to acknowledge that the dating marketplace is absolutely fucked up beyond all repair, and that you should give men leeway to not to not pay on the first date because you recognize men don't want to feel like suckers and be paying for a girl. Because we had a girl 2 weeks ago come on the show. She said she set up 50 dates, or her plan was to set up 50 dates with 50 different men in 50 days.
But she didn't expect I watched her, and she didn't expect those men to pay for it. She was very happy to do 50-50.
I don't recall exactly what she said, but there is an expectation on men to pay for first dates, and I'm sure she would prefer if the guy was she was like, I'd say moderate or conservative, so she'd probably expect the guy to be provider, pay for the first date. So, and just like I told her, I'm like, okay, I'm date number 10 in the past 10 days, and you want me to pay for the first date? I'm gonna feel like a sucker. I don't want to feel like a sucker.
Have you been a sucker before?
Huh?
Have you been one before?
I think I have. I probably have. I probably have. There's no way to know because she's not going to tell you after the date. By the way, I'm at Chad's house and I'm fucking him right now.
Or maybe not that exactly, but you go on a date, you think everything's good, and then ghosted, or you just feel like you were taken advantage of. And that's
I've had that. Like I've paid for a meal and then conversation's fine, just very pleasant, very respectful, and then
and your guard goes up after it, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So if you could create Brian's brave new world of dating, would it would it be that?
Well, I'm an authoritarian dictator in that situation, so you don't want my. But okay, I'll play along. I'll play along.
Men and women go Dutch on the first date, or you do a non-financial activity. The romantic traditional gestures can come into play, but they come into play like over time as you establish her loyalty and ladiness.
Yeah, that sounds amenable.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's just I don't want to really, not going to be a traditional guy with.
But you really don't believe that you can perceive a lady before by the first date? Maybe not instantly.
Well, I mean, there are some women where it's like very clear, okay, this woman's probably, it's hard, but this woman's probably permissive. And then I just wouldn't go on the first date to begin with. But there are some very unassuming women who you would never think who will play you.
Yeah.
And they could be shy, they could be introverted, they can be quiet, they could be talking to 5 guys at the same time, and you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
What's that fucking song? Gangsters move in silence like lasagna or some shit. I don't know, but
baby.
I don't know what I'm talking.
I don't know what lasagna is.
Last thing with you, Greta. So okay, you and I don't know if you had a response to anything I said, but you said that women are better. Eating pussy is what?
Better than sucking dick.
Okay, good time.
I mean, that's a preference for me.
Oh,